Welcome to another episode of How I Discovered My Gift. Really, David D. Simons. I am so delighted, honored, and excited to have today's guest on today, Miss Shona Bell, in the building. So we're gonna get into it, and I'm gonna break down her background, and then we're gonna go into my personal reflection of knowing Shona and tell you a little bit about her even more from a personal angle. So Shona Bell is a certified public accounting CPA and an entrepreneur enthusiast and the CEO of Beyond Accounting and Tax. And she's obsessed with helping entrepreneurs grow and support successful businesses and nonprofits. She's on a path to ultimate financial freedom and wants to take as many people as possible with her. She's also a busy mom of three and realized that in order to maximize her time and reach and help more entrepreneurs, she needed to leave her corporate job so that she could excel in this purpose, which she did in 2017. After 15 years of working in the corporate accounting, auditing, and nonprofit field, she found her passion in helping visionaries uncover their goals, aka the why, budget for those goals, the how, and how to track those financials, the results of the hard work in order to get and stay on the right path to accomplishing their mission. Her ultimate financial freedom goal is to build a life of impact, serve people using the gifts God gave her. How about that? How apropos gifts, and to help thousands, if not millions of people to do the same. Welcome to the show, Shona. Appreciate you being on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm pumped after hearing that again. I haven't read that in a while.
I
Thank
love
you.
it. I love it. Let me just tell y'all. Not every guest I have a personal connection with, but I'm blessed to have one with Shona, and she's just a sweet soul. Like I've gotten to know her over 2022, 2023, and her personality is just she's just the one of the most optimistic, positive people I've met, and she is really dedicated to help people with their finances and from a perspective of not just the numbers, the mindset behind it. She's big on mindset. She's big on understanding of your vision, the why with the motor, and not a lot of financial professionals have that duality of the numbers and the why and all of those components. They usually, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but financial professional right brain only and don't really tap into the person. It's just about the numbers. But
Right.
it's gifted in that and has that dual gift and from what I see. So again, welcome Shona to the show. Truly an honor
Thank
to
you.
have you on.
Thank you for your kind words. I think you nailed it.
Oh, thank you. So we're gonna kick this right off, right? This show is all about discovering one's gifts and talents and serving them to the world, as you state in your bio. Um, when you think about your journey, just take us through even before becoming the corporate professional that you were. Take us through as a child. Like, what did you want to do, and what were your aspirations, and then how did you get into your path?
It's very I it's odd. So I talked a lot. I was very argumentative. I always had a position um to get across, and that of course drove people like my mother crazy. And then I thought that meant I needed to be a lawyer because that's what people said. You talk a lot, you like to um, argue. I wouldn't say argue. I would say, um, I don't know what the word was. However, then that grew to me wanting to be a boss. I saw a movie and there was this woman and she just had this corner office and she just came across as very powerful. I didn't know what she did. I didn't understand it, but I just wanted to be a boss and I wanted to have like this big corner office. So then that led me to business.
Mm,
And that led me to, I think when I went to undergrad, my major was like marketing because I was like, I don't know what business, like, what do I do? Like business management. I didn't have I just knew I liked to talk and I liked to argue points, and then I wanted to be a boss. So then I went into undergrad with business management and marketing. Back then, marketing wasn't really a thing, but then accounting became a thing because I was in there during. I don't know if you know this. Normally, if it's that far back, you have to be in the accounting world to know author. What is it called? Arthur Anderson and Enron, they did like some really bad stuff, and it
Oh
basically changed
yeah.
the entire industry where new laws came into place. So like one of my professors was like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of jobs in this. So then I went accounting. Um, and then anything I said I was going to do was like, I'm going to go to the top. So I was like, well, I guess I got to be a CPA. I didn't love the stuff, but it's like if you're telling me, like stair steps, like if this is what I got to do to get to be successful, this is what I got to do to get to the top, set your mind to it and you just do it. It wasn't easy. Like I don't like tests. I didn't like studying, but I did it like because I said I was going to do it. So I did it. But um, undergrad, no, when I came out of school, I went and did Big Four. You go work for the big companies because that's what you're supposed to do. But I was always a wanderer, a dreamer. I was not satisfied. I was just I was working for the biggest public accounting firms, but I was still like, well, what else is there?
Mm,
And thankfully those corporate companies invested a lot in their talent, especially the young people. And there was always programs, there was always leadership training, there was always volunteer stuff, and I would always raise my hand for it. But I was just never satisfied. And then when I started looking at the top, I was like, is that the lifestyle I want? Is that the power I want? It was a lot of men. It was a lot of Caucasian men. And it was a lot of men that had like wives that were at home. They worked around the clock. And I was like, well, they don't look like me.
mm,
We're different genders. I don't want to go drinking and golfing and doing all the things you had to do to do that. So it's like, this is not the top for me. So I transitioned into nonprofit because that's where my heart and my passion really lied. Like throughout the whole thing, church and volunteerism was a common thread. So I went and did that, and I looked at the top, and I was like, okay, don't want to do that because I'm always looking at the top. I'm always looking for what's more, what's more. And then I wasn't in love or passionate about what it took to get to that top, working around the clock, CEO, CFO, big companies. I was like, no, that's not what I want. Then I had my first child and was like, if we get another one, I got to go. I got to quit this corporate thing because I want to
mm.
be more invested in them than the career. I actually want both, but I knew in those environments, I couldn't have both the way I wanted it. So
Mm.
there and started my entrepreneurship journey that just kind of pushed me out when I started having children. So I'll
Wow.
pause there to see if that
Yeah.
answers the first question.
Yeah. I mean, like that's fascinating. I mean, because you are, you know, a person it's in your title, financial excellence coach. Like that's not just what you do for your clients. That's who you are. The excellence. Like you said, I'm going to go into this space, and if I'm going to this space, whether it's my most favorite thing to do or not, I'm going to be the best at it possible. And you
Right.
knew that having a child would change the ability to really give your job your all and your child your all. So you said, well, how can I go into a space where I can give my child my all and I can help other people and have that freedom? So I really admire that in doing that. So I know the CPA test that we've had actually one or two CPAs on the show, and that's rigorous. Like you cannot. That's like they say it's harder than law school. It's harder than a lot of the all the series of things. Not everybody. I just don't want to underscore the level of development you had to do to get to that stem point. What was the mindset that pushed you through to get past that?
I'm pretty stubborn. And once I started down the path, once I had peers, like in public accounting, you get on this track and I see the people that were beside me and ahead of me acquiring this title and doing the thing. And I was like, I stated, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. They are no different than me. They are no better than me. I mean, some of them, and then undergrad, I just knew I was never a really great test taker. I was the participation. Remember, I like to talk. I was
Mm.
like the participation in the homework. But when it
Yes.
came to tests, my brain is just, it's not so waffle or like boxed, like rigor, like it's either yes or no. To me, my brain is not that, but I was in an environment where you had to conform to it. I made the choice to enter into it. So once I did, I had to conform in order to reach the goal. So once I said I was going to do it, I was going to do it. It took me a long time. Let me tell
Mm.
you, it took a long time. But I wanted to get it. I wanted to do it, and I did it. And when I did it, oh my goodness, the joy that I had,
Yeah.
because I proved, it was more so me proving it to myself than
Yeah.
everyone else.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it took me years. Like it was no,
Wow.
oh, and how about in this? I don't know so much about the bar and stuff, but I was taking it so long, I started to lose parts that I passed. So I had to
What?
retake parts.
You're
Yes.
kidding.
Yes.
That's
Like
dedication.
some of the parts, I passed the first time, the second time, but then I got stuck on, let's say the hardest part was like financial reporting at that time. Um, and I had to take it again. And then I had
Wow.
to pass that one. And then before the rest of them expired, you had to pass them all because you started losing the parts. So it was crazy. But I
Oh
said I
my
was going to do it. So I did it.
That's impressive. Wow. So take me back to as a child, Shauna. What when you think about your childhood, your gifting, and then when you think about you know being an adult today, knowing it for sure, what is your most dominant gift, and did it adjust, or did you see it as a child as well?
I don't, I need to go back in journals and stuff because every now and then I did keep journals. And I'm going to say this, then I think you'll see the connection. I thought about this and I believe that my gift um is the belief in something and the dream, being a dreamer, being a creator, being a having the agility and the ability to believe in something so much, whether or not it's like it makes sense. Because it back then it didn't make sense that Shauna, when did you graduate undergrad and you didn't pass the CPA? Like you really believe you can do this? And I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Of course I can pass it because I have the belief I can. And then the dreamer perspective, I was reminded of Joseph in the Bible. That was a gift. God gave him the gift of dreams, and
that's
it
right.
got him in out of bondage into the palace, and then there progressed his stuff. His So when I was going through these exercises years ago, like what is your purpose? What is your gift? I was so confused
Mm,
because um it wasn't something you could put your finger on. It wasn't like I have the gift to sing. I have the gift to create, being creative. It wasn't that. But when not only I saw it in myself, like if I can create something in my mind, I can make it come to fruition. Not without God's help, of course.
right.
But not only that, like Joseph, I can help other people see their purpose and dreams and motivate them because of my stories. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm on the phone with someone and they're thinking of, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, what's stopping you? Okay, what's up? What's the deal? And there's these excuses and excuses. So then some of those people see me putting my dreams and my actions to executing them. And then, they see that and it gives them motivation and energy to come and pick that thing up that they've been putting aside, of course. And if they feel like it, they know if they get on the phone with me, I'm going to be pressing their button. Like, what are you doing? What do you need? Like God said that you were supposed to do that thing. Why haven't you done it yet?
Mm,
Excuses, I got them all. I got 3 kids. I've had the past 5 years, and I'm gonna start a YouTube too. And
yeah.
like all the titles come to mind, and I was like, one of the titles is gonna be "How to Prepare for Your Next Tragedy." I've had
Mm.
so many tragedies since I've had children. On top of the children aren't tragedies; they're just a lot of work. But um, I have the ability to use every excuse in the book to
Well,
just have
can you
stop.
speak? If you don't mind, can you speak on some of these tragedies? Because I think listeners are probably like, well, Shauna, I got this, I got that, I got this, and so we want to just cancel some excuses today.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the only reason I was able to quit. No, wait a minute. So when I had my first child, I had this my mind, there's like, it's not a perfect mind. Sometimes I'm too hard on myself. I didn't want my daughter, this is before I quit corporate, to be in childcare, and I had my mom's support. So she was always, my daughter was always part-time my mom, part-time me, right? So then when we had a second child, I still had my mom. She had the first kid and the baby part-time, and I was able to balance a little more because all my jobs, I'm like, well, um, yeah, I don't want to work full time. What
Mm,
what can we do? I was always positioning things, right? So
right.
then when I had a month before I had my third child, I lost my mom. I had to wrap up her affairs and do all the stuff. And she moved by me when I had my first daughter. And so we were her world. And she really was very key player in me really starting this because I knew my children were taken care of. So almost a month to the day she passed away, I had my third child. So having to deal with that and deal with it, but like just go through those emotions, be a mom of two little kids because they were all 2.5 years apart. So I had a 2.5 year old and a 4 year old, and now I have a newborn baby and a
Mm,
business. Like
mm,
what? It was a lot.
mm.
It
That is
was
a
a
lot.
lot. So then fast forward, my youngest daughter is only 3. So since then, I have been very involved with 2 more tragic deaths in my family, meaning being like I wasn't the daughter of the person, but I was doggone near close to it. Or like
Mm,
one was almost like a sister to me, one was like uh I was like a dog. She was like my second mom here
mm,
where I live locally. And so having to put down the business, not put
mm,
it down, like kind of like pause. I need to go be there for my family. I need to go be there for my cousins. I need to go be there for this person. And I need to run a business and these 2 kids. And, like, well, no, 3 at that time. At that
mm,
time, 3. So on top of having, my husband is an entrepreneur as well. So us trying to balance parenting and that entrepreneurship life, which is unpredictable. Oh my, this, like
yes.
you're traveling, um, but those little people still need you. That spouse still needs you. And then all the other things. So those are just some examples of, whew, like, oh, and one more thing, because I can go on for days with these tragedies.
Yeah.
I had a really bad business breakup in the middle of all this.
Mm,
You invest time in partnering with somebody. And
mm,
I know this is a lot of people's story. And some
yeah.
people quit after it. You think, yeah, I'm not doing that again. Not going into partnership again, but some people just quit on business altogether.
Yeah.
Like I have all the excuses to have quit, but I'm like, no, I'm standing in my purpose. God
Wow.
said this was supposed to be, so it
Mm,
needs to be.
mm,
All
wow.
these things are just roadblocks, but without them, how do you get stronger? And how do you become a testimony for someone else that's coming up behind you?
Mm, wow. We all
So
need
it's
that attitude. I see your gift shining through all the things you're sharing about the tragedies because, like you said, you know, you could easily quit, you bow out, just forget this. I mean, it's one thing to go through a trial. It's another thing to go through multiple trials at the same time.
at the
That's
same time.
so much respect. So in just break down for me how you use this. Basically, it sounds like it's the gift of faith, right? The Bible talks about there's the gift of faith where you just have like it's another level or layer of faith than most people have, to where you believe you can accomplish the impossible and do the unbelievable, and that's obviously what sounds like it's in your life, and that's what you've done. Now, also break down how you use this gift in business and also in your firm, because I'm imagining that's also the case when you're looking through your clients' numbers and you're looking through their businesses and kind of being an advisor.
So I think for all business owners or and Christians, you first start by setting an example, right? You set the example. If you are um, in business, somebody that finances is normally the thing that gets left to, like, put to the side. You either you started a business out of circumstance because you lost a job or because you have this dream and so forth and so on. So when things get started, finances are normally put to the side, right?
Right.
So having had a successful business or successful businesses, because I've had a few, um, and showing people that it's possible to do it, doing it while having three small children, and doing it while, not a lot of people know of all the ups and downs that I've experienced through it. I mean, most of my close clients knew when I lost my mom, when I had deaths in the family, because it's like, this is real. Or when I had the baby, like, this is
Hmm.
real, guys. I need, like, I'll be right back. Like, I need
Yeah.
to pause for a second. I'll be right back. So
Right.
setting an example is first off, very important. And then making things, what I've learned is certain things, and I know this for sure, things that become easy to me or you are not easy to other people. So making it plain, making it understandable, making it, um, because confusion blocks a lot of, it's a block. It blocks things. If you're confused, if you're down, if you're all these things, you don't like, belief is so far fetched ahead of you, you can't even envision seeing being out of debt, being understanding your financials. If you're not able to make it plain for someone to understand. So
Right.
seeing where someone is in their journey and their, in their experiences, or even dealing with their own trauma and stuff, and making it believable that no, this does not have to be you for the rest of your life. You know how
Mm.
many calls I've gotten on and I said, do you know what financial freedom is? And people are like, no, what's that?
Mm.
I mean, it's a definition, but when I explain it, like, can you imagine having a life where you don't, there's different levels of financial freedom according to Tony Robbins.
Mm.
But can you imagine a life where you not only are able to pay your bills, but you're able to not have to have your bills paid, to not have to work, live off investment, interest investment, and have luxuries, and be able to vacation, be able to just live your life. Like, people don't even fathom it. So
Mm.
basically, what I'm saying is meeting people where they are and then opening up their mindset to imagining something that they didn't even knew existed, and
Mm.
and helping them to see that path,
Yes.
and helping them get on the path, and then
Right.
seeing them through to it is kind of like how I look at the value that I bring. Like, it's the education piece, and um, then stabilizing them, then having them kind of like grow through the steps. I'm writing something about that, so stay tuned about
I,
that.
I love
So
it.
yeah, that does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. So you've embodied that and you live out that example. I know we've had conversations. You're an investor. You do other things outside of the space, and so you example to your clients. So walk me through an example of either it could be a client, a student, someone you've coached, or someone where they came and they didn't have that understanding of financial freedom, and you were able to help them position or transition to a place of like, wow, this is a different reality that I had before.
Sure. So I will use an example of someone that I helped position themselves to. So some people, depending on where you are, right? You quickly realize if you have big financial goals, your 9 to 5 job is not going to get you there. That was one of the reasons why I was like, no, this is not cool. Like,
Right.
in my field, people can make a good partners, oh my goodness, they can make a good $500,000 like
Mm.
salary or even more than that. But do you
Right.
know what they had to do to get that? Like
All kinds of stuff.
that's not
Yeah.
that's not was that my phone? I don't know. So anyway, so getting someone that has those big dreams or introducing those dreams to them, we can quickly, in this example, make them realize that hold on, this W-2 job is not all that you need, right? So let's start a business. Okay, we start a business. Okay, let's start, paying down your debt. Okay, let's do that. Let's maximize as much as you can in this business. Like it was a side hustle in this situation. The side hustle, in order for you to ramp up paying down the debt and all that. But not only was she able to do this, she was able to like start investing in real estate because when you think of that number,
Yeah.
like everyone has a number. They just don't know they have it. They haven't assigned it to themselves. They haven't spoke it. They haven't made it. They haven't brought it into their future reality yet, right?
Yeah.
So once I helped them envision, or once I helped her envision, oh, that's your number. That's where you want to go. Well, what are the things you need to do to get you there? Okay, that 9 to 5 job, it's security, but it's not all that's there. So okay, let's start a business. Not only to start a business, let's skip all that low pricing to start with because everyone that starts a business, they price too low. They do anything to get clients. A lot of them. You do all the things that you think you're supposed to do to start out. Like I'm just starting. I need to, get clients. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, and you have a value. Like we've talked you through it. Like there's a value to that. So let's and it's oh my goodness, this part is hard. Like having people understand their value and having them put it on the page. Sometimes I'm like, let me just get on the sales call. Give me the sales call and I will
Mm.
sell you at that
Yes.
price. Because some people don't listen. She comes back and she's like, yeah, I sold it, but it was only for this much. I was like, no, that's not
Mm.
the thing. Anyway, so the journey from W-2 job to envisioning the goals, then to um envisioning the goal, starting the business, paying down the debt, investing in real estate, because what does that do? That gives you cash flow. So
Right.
then you can reassign to the debt payoff, to the savings goals. And then the goal is, we're not quite there yet. The goal is to have the investment income and the side hustle increase, like exceed the W-2. So now you can quit the W-2 job.
That's
So
right.
that's kind of like the path that I like to, that's just one specific example, but that's like the path I like to create or help people see, you know, this could be your track. But you have to start with the belief that
Hmm.
there's something else out there. I've also realized everyone is not able to do that. Everyone is not able to believe there's more. So
Mm.
not that it's impossible for them to get there, but they have to work on a lot more internally before they
Mm.
can actually, because some of it can be too intense. Like I
Mm.
recommended a book recently and then they're like, Rich was in the title.
Mm.
I didn't know that was offensive. Like it was a little offensive. Like,
Mm.
I don't even want to be rich. I just want to be out of debt. And I'm like, oh,
Wow.
okay. I was like,
Interesting.
but the book is not anyway. So people come in different stages and all the things, and having done this for some years, it's like being able to see where they are and just like zone in to what they need, and if they're ready, let's go.
Mm.
Some people need a little bit more time.
That's
That's what I
amazing.
learned.
So take me through this because you've obviously worked on your mindset, and I know that's a big thing for you, mindset, and it should be a big thing for everybody,
Right.
um, but it's not. Um, and you've had to put in a level of development into yourself to get yourself to, though you have this gift of faith and you have this gift of belief, and you've also had to work on yourself to develop yourself to that, to the capacity you have to today. So talk us through the development behind the scenes. Like what if over the years, whether before going into corporate or while in corporate and into entrepreneurship, what level of reading and um, personal development and self development have you gone through to get yourself to where you are?
That's interesting. Well, first of all, I love books. Since a child, and I didn't even realize, no, I kind of realized I was doing this. My mother would always take us to the library, and I would always have at least 10, 20 books. And now I have passed that down to my kids. However, they are not allowed to have that many books, but because keeping up with that many books
Yeah.
with three little children. But anyway, I've always had the interest in learning more about a thing. So I've always been a good reader. And I don't know why. I mean, I was undergrad, I was like accounting, finance. So I started reading finance books, books about living debt free lives. Of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like these
Oh
books
yeah.
came into my interest level, and I don't really remember. It's not like someone put the book in my hand. You know, I was normally the one putting the book in someone else's hand. So I don't know if
Mm.
it was the influence through professors or classes, but I've always just had, or Barnes and Noble like that. I'm a Barnes and Noble junkie. Like I can just go and smell books and just be happy. So financial literacy, like that has always been my thing. So I remember reading a book about dang, I got rid of some of these books. Of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. Those are some books I read early on. But there was another book, wasn't by a famous author. They might be famous now, but it was about um selling. It was about negotiations. It was about, and I'm reminded, my husband, we've been together for a while now, so we bought a couple cars, and you know, car dealership, like come on, like there's
Mm-hmm.
always negotiations, and I used to embarrass him, like
Mm-hmm.
he would just always be like, Shauna, like you can't say that. I'm like, why can't I? He's like, because this guy spent all his time, he needs to get a sale, and like he's fine because you know they get a little desperate in it, and I'm like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna push back. Like we came in here knowing what we wanted to pay, how we wanted to finance, and all these things, but having the confidence to just be like all about my numbers and not letting anybody tell me different has is just it's just been ingrained in me. So now, not now. So there was a point where I was like, I need more. Like I need more. I need a coach. I need something that's stronger than me. Something that's going to feed my yearning for more knowledge and more of the stuff I know. And it took forever. Like there was years where I've searched out coaches, and then I would listen to a little bit of their stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, well that's what I think." You know, nobody could really tell me something that just made my mind go, whew, like, whoa, how did that just happen?
Mm-hmm.
Or it was just more of something I've read, something like I just wasn't really like that doesn't, to me, and I'm not being arrogant about it, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't, the person just wasn't big enough. Because if you think about
Mm-hmm.
yourself in terms of your future, if you've got, you know, like enough or a lot of dreams yourself, you want someone so far ahead of you that you have somewhere to go, right?
That's right.
So then about a almost a year ago, and this is how I met you, I come
Mm-hmm.
across our amazing coach, who
Yes.
Myron
Myron
Golden.
Gold.
And then that was a place where I'm just like, you just in it because you know you're in it, and you're like, wait a minute, what just happened? Like what just
Right.
happened? And it was just so, I'm gonna say overwhelming in a good way. The way that then you kind of see yourself like, okay, let me plug into this outlet because I can see that this is really going to make me strong enough to continue to pour into other people, but also fill me up to get me to where, you know, I need to go. But it was starting with this interest and this understanding that I don't know it all. There's a lot of people that have come before me and did the thing. So why am I going to try to create a wheel? Let me
That's
see how
right.
you did it. Let me plug into what's applicable to me and my situation, and let me leverage that, create my own situation, get my own people, and let's go down the path together. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how I, you know, where it started and where I am, like all the way through,
Mm.
like where I am now, which is
That,
so
that's
much to do.
awesome. I love it. I love it. You really hit on an important topic of you've got to have someone that where your dreams are like, oh, that, like, they look at it like, oh man, that's easy, right? Like that, like it's got to be, they've got to be so beyond where you're envisioning. And that helps to produce a great coach. So I love that you shared that. Now, could you break down, because I know you have, as it states in your bio, you really learned how to maximize efficiency and productivity, because that's something entrepreneurs struggle with a lot too. Now they've got a business, but some entrepreneurs create a job, right? Where you now have a job that's harder than your other job that you had in corporate. Plus, you're maybe paid less, and you have less time, and you still have the autonomy. So, could you speak about the efficiency and some of the practices you use to be efficient and be effective at the same time?
Yeah. So I wasn't always good at this, right? So when I first started out, by the grace of God, I was able to replace my income, which that's another YouTube video, right?
Hmm.
Replace my income within a matter of weeks because of,
Wow.
I, yeah, like surpassed my income um, very quickly. And if I had to do it all over again, well, first, let me step back. You have to understand your situation because I was building my business based on someone else's situation. I had a coach, which was awesome. I wouldn't, I learned amazing things, and it was a coach that helped CPAs start and run a business because you can know the numbers, but I recognize that it's more to just knowing numbers to run a business, right? But based on the teaching, it was like, you should be able to get to this much without hiring anybody, like this much six figures. It was like 250 or something, right? And I was like, okay, well, I'm a good student. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let me do it. But I got in it, surpassed my income. I'm on this path, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have no time. Like, what?
Mhm.
Like, my mom who was helping me, she's like, all right, I got to go home. I'm like, Mom, but I got clients. And then when you're first starting out, is that pressure to not mess up and all this stuff. So if I had to do it again, with my situation, given I was starting this with young children, I would not have tried to get to that six-figure replacement income without hiring someone,
Mm,
leveraging my business. They
mm,
came to me because I'm the CPA, I have the things, but leveraging that to hire someone off the back. Like every dollar, I wish then I would have said it for every dollar I make, this is the margin I want to keep. I want to keep 60 cents. I'm gonna pay someone 40 cents and
mm,
just break it up immediately. That's what I
mm.
should have did. However, everyone's situation is different. So I guess
Right.
the first thing would be to figure out the situation you want.
Mm,
Even now, people look at all these business owners that have these amazing businesses and all that kind of stuff, and they want to replicate. I'm like, but you don't know their situation.
right.
You don't want to replicate it and lose balance and lose life and lose family members or like your kids just off the hook because you're not, trust me, I've been there watching a little bit too much TV and all that kind of stuff and then seeing the results of it, right? Look,
Yeah.
no, know your situation and immediately figure out how much leverage you need immediately and just produce it. So to me, you don't have a business until you've leveraged yourself and delegated something. So
Mm,
delegation is huge. Even if you start out with a VA, in my field, even if it's a VA that knows a little bit about bookkeeping, that just
mhm,
can just look at the accounts and do something or just manage emails, like anything that you don't need it in my experience, if anything that you don't need to have a CPA or you don't need to have my degree and my experience to do, you shouldn't be doing it.
mm.
Someone else should be doing everything, everything. And then I
Yes.
would say
Yeah.
systems comes into place like that. Every business is different, but finding a system to be able to reproduce the knowledge that you have
Mm,
early on and then delegate it is so important. And if people build businesses like this, you know,
mm.
recognize your situation and the type of business you want. If you want to work 24 hours a day, that's you. Like that's not
That's
me.
right.
That's that person, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to work 50%, like 4 hours a day, well, go
Right.
get some clients and figure out what systems and person you need in place to do that. And in this
Yeah.
day and age, there's so many systems out there. There's
True.
really no excuse, and they're not expensive per
Right.
se. That it's too hard to do. So yeah, figuring out your situation, leveraging yourself, and delegating and systems is so important. And knowing how much of the dollar you need to keep up front, like how
Mhm.
much of it do you need to pay, and then just don't give the rest away, but just spend it wisely, and then just
That's
have your
right.
balanced situation.
That's gold. I love that. Leverage. You would have started out with leverage from the very beginning. That's good. That's good wisdom right there. So talk to us about, because like you said, you replaced your income very fast, which is unheard of for any industry, right? So could you speak to, obviously you had to leverage some marketing and positioning and all of those things, and so, which is the last D. We've talked about the discover what the gift is, which is the belief gift, the gift of faith. We've talked about the development, the things that you had to do to work on your mindset, the things you had to do to work on yourself as an entrepreneur, the things you had to do to improve efficiency and effectiveness. And the last D we always get into is distribution, or AKA marketing. So how, especially for entrepreneurs, let's just say there's some aspiring CPAs, aspiring entrepreneurs that want to build a business like you have, and they want to get a fast track and they want to get more clients, opportunities. What advice or wisdom would you share on the distribution part, the marketing?
So for me, I'll start. I didn't know all this then, but I didn't know I was doing this, but it's so important. Um, Having relationships and the know, like, and trust factor is huge, because that is how I was able to
Yeah.
replace. It was relationships. It was, I actually made my current job one of my first clients because of the
Smart.
relationships that I had, and because they trusted me and knew me. It was just so easy, and they knew I was gonna do a good job and do right. But then the next thing was so they knew me, they trusted me, and I had a relationship. But some people don't know you. Some people don't have that relationship. So how do you grow a cold lead into a hot one, right? Having professional, when I started, I didn't have a website. I just had LinkedIn. That's all I had. And just being visible, being someone that being top of mind, like in this season, I could just send out a few messages to my LinkedIn people, and 9 times out of 10 it's like, oh, I need a CPA. I mean, I'm not doing some of that work anymore, but I can definitely like connect and be a resource. So being visible, top of mind is is not direct marketing, but it's so important to have a good presentation of yourself on a platform somewhere. I also took a lot of time to gain reviews,
Smart.
like have people just kind of in the beginning, and it was all on LinkedIn. I didn't have a website or anything. Have people that worked with me and knew me to say good things about me, because that's how I shop. Um, so I would say shop like you shop. Like,
Mm.
no, sell like you shop, I guess.
Mm.
Like, go out there. If you are someone that is like, I need to see some reviews, I need to see, sometimes you need to see a website, sometimes in order to get to know someone that and grow from cold to warm to hot, it's like, these are things that I incorporated early on. And then I also used, when I finally got a website, I was able to get clients like that without a website, definitely without SEO. But when I got the website, I did SEO, which is bananas, but it takes time, right?
Yeah.
It takes time, but it's also marketing. It's also passive. It's less expensive than ads and all that kind of stuff. But just depending on where you are in the scaling, it's like starting from 0 to 10. Once you get, your passive marketing, if can you call them that? Like your
Yeah.
passive stuff taken care of. Then, okay, well, how many clients do you have? How many do you need? What margin do you need? Then if you want to pick it up and you've already got all that low hanging fruit, then you want to go to hiring someone because it is not your specialty. Like
Mm,
people try to do, and I've tried to do myself. But I'm the type of person I don't need to be anymore, right? In the weeds. Like I want it said this
mhm.
way. But,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you just gotta let go of some of the stuff. I think once I get a good run of all my first things built out, like in terms of courses and content, then maybe I can back off a little bit. But I've learned people that are in the profession can do it a whole lot better, a whole lot more effective than you can because it's not your purpose. It's not your wow, it's really dark in here. It's crazy. Um
No worries. No
it's
worries.
what was I gonna say? It's not your ministry.
Hmm.
So spending your time in your ministry and depending on where you are in your career or your scalability of your business, that's when, and then you might need to involve the specialist at the beginning of it. Like if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have done that. Like, just come and tell me what I need
Right.
so that I can do this instead of tripping over myself and doing things that don't work and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So in this technological stage, being present in social media, being seen, being visible is just so important. And some businesses maybe make it without it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know some don't have websites, but without being on the scene, I mean, it'd be pretty hard to get someplace. I don't know what the number is, but it'd be pretty hard to get um, a pretty big financially healthy or wealthy situation without it. So yeah.
No, that's gold. I love that. You spoke to a lot of things and the importance of trust and relationship. You know, leveraging experts. That's all wisdom. So, tell us about ways and resources people can connect with you. I know you're a speaker. I know you said you're working on a book, so pending author. And I know you have coaching as well to help other financial professionals. So tell us a little about some of the ways that people can connect with you and the services that and offerings that you have.
Sure. So my website is Beyond Accounting Tax. Um, there I talk about my financial intelligence coaching program, where that takes you from building a foundation of understanding, finances. That's a huge thing. That it's like if you don't understand your numbers or understand why they even scare you, you need to build a good foundation all the way through wealth building because you got to start somewhere and there's things in between, right? So then, of course, so that's for entrepreneurs. I also have a program where I'm helping CPAs do what I did, like replace the income, exceed the income as quickly as you want. So I have a program with that, and then that's all on my website. But they can follow me on social media. It's She's a CPA, SHEA CPA on Instagram and Facebook. It's just business, my name, Shona Bell or Beyond Accounting Tax.
Love it. We're gonna plug all of those in the show notes.
Yeah.
Um, and you also have like a challenge and other things that people can get involved with. They can find that all or is there a specific site for that they can connect with?
It's on my website. Right now, I'm planning my next challenge, but an inquiry form is on my website. So if you're interested in the next coming challenges for either entrepreneurs or CPAs, they can find it inquiry forms on my website or just social media. I have a group that you can join. I have the what is it called? Work less, get paid more. No, 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 that's not what it's called. CPA freedom. Wait, pause. Freedom for CPAs, service providers, and agency owners. So that'll get you plugged into the challenges that I'm doing for CPAs. But otherwise, the financial coaching my website is the best place to get plugged in for what's going on with that.
Superb. I love it. So we always ask this question on the show, Shona, and that is, um, what's the difference between one's gift and one's purpose? One's gift and one's purpose.
That's good. Okay. One's gift and purpose. So I would say your gift, which came from God, which your gift that God gave you, um, what makes you unique, what no one else has, what cannot be duplicated. It's kind of like a what is it called? Fingerprint, right?
Green print, yeah.
Your gift was assigned, it was assigned to you. Um, your purpose is the assignment that you're supposed to do with that gift.
Mm,
It's the execution of what you're supposed to um, do as it relates to the gifts and abilities God gave you. Like if you were gifted the talent to sing, well, your purpose is to go sing.
yeah.
Your purpose is to go and um, disciple and just touch other people's lives with that gift that God gave you. In my space, my gift of belief and faith and being a dreamer, that's a gift. My purpose is to use those skills and abilities to go and impact lives. Like I said, like you read on the website, to impact other people's lives in ways that they are not gifted, or to
Mm-hmm.
use those to kind of strengthen areas that are weak in them so that they can see their own gifts and purposes. So we're all just supposed to use what God gave us to support, because clearly you have things I do not have. I have things you do not have, and that's
Right.
where complementary relationships are really impactful. So
For sure. Wow. Thank you for blessing me, blessing the people that are
yeah,
hearing this. You killed it. Thank you so much, Shona.
thank you for
Appreciate you
having
so
me.
much. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.